This is a quick reminder video on how I do double knitting. Double knitting is a super squishy technique that can be used on scarves or pot holders, anything really that you would want to have this two-sided super squishy yarn technique for what you would want to use it for. So I'm going to create a decent amount of tail here. I'm going to use double pointed needles and Norwegian thimble, which I purchased on Amazon. And I'm just twisting to get my first stitch. And I want to make sure that my colors stay in line. So if I need to move them, I will. But I'm just going to go ahead and cast on a couple stitches here. The Norwegian thimble comes in two sizes if anyone needs to grab one online. And they are made out of stainless steel, so they don't, at least for me, they don't turn my finger green. So it's not a fake metal, which is nice. And what I'm doing is flipping the stitches so the color stays in line. Sometimes it does not cast on that way. So sometimes you just have to help it out. Okay, let's see, 2, 4. You count each of these as one stitch. So 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'll just do 10 across. And this is the braid effect that you get on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and get this in position, put my thimble on. Normally for color work knitting, your contrast color stays on the right side and your main color stays on the left. But I've noticed with double knitting, for me at least, it does not matter which side the yarn color is sitting on. So to start this, I'm going to always knit the first and the last stitch with both colors. And if you're like me and you want to make sure that your colors stay in line, and this first and last stitch, if they twist and flip their colors, then just pick them up and move them. So first stitch, both colors, knit together. Every stitch until the last stitch we do this. First stitch, knit with that matching color. Now pull both yarns to the front and you're going to purl with the matching color. Again, match the color, knit, pull to the front, match the color, purl. Put them back. Match the color, knit, pull both to the front, match the color, and purl. And continue to the last stitch. There is a way, of course, to knit and purl. I'm sorry, not knit and purl. There is a way to do this technique using Continental and English style knitting simultaneously. So I can show how to do that, but it's, for me personally, it's finicky, but not everyone may find it to be finicky. Again, match the color and knit, pull both to the front, match the color and purl. And again, match the color and knit, pull both to the front, match the color and purl that color. Last stitch, you knit them together, and you see how the colors now don't match up. It's green, green. I'm going to try and get it so that it holds to that pattern color. Now, using this thimble, what I'm going to do so I can turn this, I'm going to keep my finger down and just turn the needle right over it. That way everything stays right up under and I'm ready to go. I don't have to fiddle with it. So I'll do another row with the Norwegian thimble. If you don't have the thimble or you don't like this tool, you can knit both colors off of your pointer finger, or however some people use both middle and pointer, but you can knit them both off of the left hand Continental style. It's whatever you're most comfortable with. So I'm going to knit this, and it lined up perfectly, green, white. So now that I'm on what I would consider the wrong side, the opposite side, you can see my green is now a knit, when on the other side it was a purl. So I'm going to match green to green. This is a knit, I'm going to knit it. Pull the yarn to the front because the white is now a purl. So I'm going to match white to white and purl it. Green to green and knit. This is a purl, a white purl stitch. I want to pull the yarn to the front and purl with the white, and continue that all the way to the end. Last stitch, you just knit. I want to try and get my, there it goes, colors to line up. And again, I'm going to keep my finger down and just turn the work. If I was doing this not on double points and I was using a circular needle, then I wouldn't have to do this flipping back and forth. I would just continuously knit around and around and around. Obviously, if you're familiar with knitting in the round, you just keep going around. You don't have to do the back and forth flip. It just depends on what your pattern is calling for, to knit it flat or knit it in the round. So let me show how to do it using some English style knitting without the thimble. And if you're curious about how to do it on just Continental without the thimble, it's a matter of managing the yarn on either the pointer, or I've seen it also where it's the pointer and the middle finger, which I can't seem to get my middle finger to stay in a good tension space, but I can do it kind of with just the one. So if you want to do it without the thimble, again, you still knit the first stitch, and it's not in the correct color pattern, so I'm going to flip it. There we go. white, green, white, and see how it moves on me, which I don't like. That's why I use the thimble. And it twists, which I don't like either, because I don't have that thimble there to keep the yarns in line. So that was a knit stitch for the white, knit with the white. Now both yarns to the front, and I purl the green. Knit with the white, and again you have to get your yarn to sit on your finger the way that it works best for you. And now purl with the green. Again, that's why I like my thimble. To do this English and Continental style, I'm going to hold one color in one hand and one in the other. Knit stitch, and it's white, knit with the white. The green stayed in the back. Now to get to this green purl stitch, because I need this green, this white comes in the front. Now either I can hold it or I can drop it off of my hand. So I'm just going to hold it, and I'm going to pull the green to the front. It was in the back. I'm just pulling everything to the front so that I can get my needle in there, and then wrap the yarn around the needle and then purl it, and then get the green back in the back. It's a lot of steps having to do this with English style knitting, and you might end up with a weird mistake and you won't notice it. Yeah, there's something funny about that. No, it's correct. I'm just not a fan of this technique working this particular stitch. So that was the white. Now I have to get everything back in the front, wrap the yarn to purl it, pull it off, put the green back in the back, knit the white. Again, pull everything to the front, and then purl with the green, and then get everything back in the back. For me, this is fiddly, but that's just the way my hands work when I'm doing this particular stitch. And I have to remember to constantly move my hands and drop the needle to get this yarn to go back and forth and back again. Last stitch. I need both colors, so I'll go ahead and, whoops. Go ahead and put them back on Continental style. Put that back there and knit that last stitch. And that's in line. All the colors are lined up. So that's how you would do it with both English and Continental, but again, not my favorite, so I'm going right back to my Norwegian thimble. And if you're curious about how I'm filtering the yarn through my hand, it is, I put the yarn in the palm of my hand, right up almost close to where my thumb bends, and I wrap it on the back between the pinky and the ring so that it comes over the ring finger, under the ring finger, and back on top of the pointer. I'm going to go ahead and put my yarn back the way I want it in my Norwegian thimble. There we go. And again, just turn the needle around, keeping the yarn down, keeping my finger down so it just flips right on top. And then just start all over again. First 2 stitches, knit them together. These are knit stitches, and it's green, so I'm going to grab the green. This white is a purl. Pull both yarns to the front and purl with the white. And then the last stitch, remember to knit together. And if the yarn flips, then you can just redo it. You can even hold it in the color position that you want while you knit it. Keeping my finger and my yarn down, I just twist from left to right. That way I'm ready. So if you've noticed, one side stays white, one side stays green. That's the double knit. And this is nice and squishy, and it actually pulls apart. So there's a space in between, an empty space in between the colors in this type of pattern. So again, first stitch, knit the colors together, grab them both together, and then make everything match. Stitch to color, knit stitch, white yarn. Green stitch is a purl. Pull both yarns to the front and purl the green. And it's not color matching the way I want. So I'm going to force it to stay by holding it when I pull it through. Still didn't want to do it. Come on. There we go. That's what the edge looks like, which is rather odd looking. I'm not a fan of these edges, but that's what it looks like. And actually that last stitch did not come out right. Let's redo this one. Just didn't look right to me. It's also that edge stitch. So depending on what your pattern calls for, your pattern would be able to give you a better edge. This is just a reminder video on how to do this. So I think I'll go ahead and stop, but that's the pattern for double knitting, or at least if you just want to practice. So that's just how you do double knitting. If you just want to practice it, your pattern will explain what it wants you to do, but you should at least in your pattern, unless it says otherwise, you knit the first stitch with the same colors together, and then you'll go in pattern matching the stitches with the colors. And your pattern, it may have certain symbols or letters or designs that you can actually put into, knit and purl into your double knitting. But that's how you do double knitting, basically 101.